In lesson 212, we are going to continue working on partial quotients. You'll need your whiteboard marker, eraser, and your math journal. So on your whiteboard, would you go ahead and number 1 and 2, and I will show you what I would like for you to do. So for each of these multiplication problems, I want you to write 2 related division problems. So for example, 2 times 3 equals 6 could be thought of as 6 divided by 2 equals 3, or 6 divided by 3 equals 2. Think of what we would call fact families. Would you go ahead and do that for number 2? Pause your video while you complete this step. So for number 2, 4 times 2 equals 8 can be thought of as 8 divided by 2 equals 4, and 8 divided by 4 equals 2. So this sign is the same as our traditional division sign. It means the same thing. All right, would you try this for some extended facts? Go ahead, number 1 and 2, and complete that on your whiteboard. Pause your video. Number 1, we can take 240 divided by 60 and get 4. We can take 240 and divided by 4 and get 60. Number 2, 210 divided by 3 is 70, and 210 divided by 70 equals 3. Let's try one more problem like that. Go ahead and write it on your whiteboard. Pause the video. We're going to take 8,800 divided by 4 to get 2,200. Or take 8,800 divided by 2,200 to get 4. Remember, that's where those 2 zeros cancel out those 2 zeros. All right, 3,750 divided by 3 gives me 1,250. And 3,750 divided by 1,250 gives me 3, because this 0 cancels out this 0. All right, go ahead and wipe off your whiteboard. We're going to move right into our journal today. And again, you have some graph paper inside of your 3-ring binder. So I would suggest using that because, as you can see, there's not a ton of space. You have some below these problems, and this is on page 65. So it's up to you how you want to go about doing this. I'm going to go into another screen so I have a little bit more space to work. But we are on page 65, and we're working on 2-digit divisors again. So I'm just giving myself a little bit more space, just like you would if you're using your graph paper. So at the top, it says partial quotients with multiples. Now, quotient is the answer when you divide. So make an estimate and then use partial quotients division to solve. Click on the activity resources. That is if you were doing this online, but we're doing this in our math journal. So we're going to go ahead and make an estimate. You'll see that on the first line, my kind of isn't showing there, not sure why. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to round. So for my estimate here, I always think, what can I estimate to make it easy to do just in my head? So I'm going to make this 1,647. I'm actually going to make it 1,500 because then I can divide 28. I'm going to change that to 30 because I can divide 15 divided by 3 in my head. So 15 divided by 3 is just a basic fact, which is 5. 1 0 cancels out a 0 here, and I just add 1 to the end. So my answer should be close to 50. Here we go. let's set this problem up. 1,647 divided by, we put that in the dividend, divided by 28, which is a 2-digit divisor. In 4th grade, we did 1-digit divisors. So the first thing I say is, can it go in there 100 times? Well, 100 times 28 would be 2,800. So that's too much, but it's not that much more. So I probably don't want to go by tens. So if I go by 20s, I can double numbers in my head pretty easily. So let's take 28 times 2, or double it. You have to think for a second and just show your work somewhere on your board. If you had to double it, it's 56. Okay, so if I take 28 times 2, I get 56 with 1 0 behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and take 560 and subtract that. Go ahead and subtract. 7 minus 0 is 7. I cannot take 4 minus 6, so borrow from the 5. 14 minus 6 is 8. So now can I do it 20 times again? Absolutely. It was 560, so go ahead and subtract 560. Now you could have done it by 10, but it would have taken you now many more steps. So 7 minus 0 is 7. 8 minus 6 is 2. 10 minus 5 is 5. Can I do it 20 times again? Well, that was 560, but I can't do that again, so I have to go by tens. 10 times 28 is 280. Go ahead and subtract. Can I do it 10 times again? No, I can't. So now I have to figure out it's less than 10. 28 is not a basic fact. So I know that I can easily double. Or sometimes I just say, okay, how about let's try it like 7 times. And I literally on my whiteboard could take 28 times 7 and see if that works. And you should be really good at multiplying a 2-digit times a 1-digit at this point. So that should be pretty easy for you to figure out. So 8 times 7 is 56, carry your 5. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus 5 is 19. So yeah, it goes in there 7 times. It might go in there more, but I'm going to go ahead and write 7 and subtract 196 from this. So I'm going to keep going until my remainder is smaller than 28. Now I'm down to 51. Can I take 2 more 28s? 28 times 2 is 56, so no, it only goes in there 1 more time. So go ahead and subtract 1 last time. The remainder is 23. I know I'm done dividing when my remainder is smaller than my divisor. So now I just have to add together all of these numbers along the side. So 20 plus 20 is 40, plus 10 is 50, plus 7 is 57, plus 1 is 58. So the answer is 58 with the remainder of 23. Remainder always needs to be smaller than my divisor. So I could have done it by tens, but you can see how much longer that would take me. All right, let's go on to number 2. We have 4,319 divided by 42. I'm going to go ahead and estimate 4,319 to 4,200. Now, I'm not really rounding because obviously that would be rounded to 4,300 or 4,000. But I know that I can keep 42 there, and now it's very easy. 42 divided by 42 is 1 with 2 zeros behind it. So keeping that in mind, that helps me with my partial quotients because I know that it has to go in there close to 100 times. So let's go ahead and solve this problem by writing it on our graph paper. Again, remember that graph paper, or at the bottom, which you don't have a ton of room. Okay, if I know it's close to 100 times, guess what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to take it times 90. In my head, I'm thinking 42 times 90. Well, I know that has to be close to 100 because my estimate is 100. So if I just ignore my 0 for right now, all I have to do on my whiteboard is take 42 times 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Carry my 1. 9 times 4 is 36 plus 1 is 37. Now add on my 0 to the end. And I'm dividing 4,319, and I have less than that, so that works. So before I erase that, I'm going to say it goes in there at least 90 times. And all I did is took it times 9 and extended that fact and popped that 0 on the end. So I'll subtract 3,780. Now, had I not estimated, I would have started maybe the 20 or 30. So let's go ahead and subtract. 9 minus 0 is 9. 11 minus 8 is 3. 12 minus 7 is 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and go by tens. 42 times 1 is 42 with 1 0 behind. 9 minus 0 is 9. 3 minus 2 is 1. Can it go in there again? Absolutely. I can double it. If I just do 42 times 2 or double 4, double 2, I get 84. Now look, is my remainder smaller than my divisor? Yep, so all I have to do is add these numbers together. 90 plus 10 is 100 plus 2. So my answer is 102, remainder 35. Again, make sure your remainder is smaller than your divisor. Let's do one more together. Again, that estimate is really, really helpful in helping us narrowing down the steps. What I'm going to do is try to think of what is, just take the first number. 26 is pretty close to 28. And 36, if I made that 40, look at, I know 28 divided by 4 is a basic fact. So anytime you can take the first 2 digits and the next one and think of what are some multiples of 4, that will help you get an estimate. So 48 divided by 4 is 7. This 0 cancels out this 0, and my answer should be close to 70. That really is going to help me as I begin to divide. So let's go ahead and write this problem. 2,628 divided by 36. I know my answer should be close to 70. So guess what I'm going to do? On a piece of paper, my whiteboard, or off to the side in my journal, I'm just going to take 36 times 7. I'll pop that 0 on at the end. Just by doing this one step, I'm going to cut down the amount of steps that I need to do in this partial quotients. 7 times 6 is 42. Carry your 4. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 4 is 25. And then I'm going to pop on my 0 because I'm really multiplying by 70. So I add that 0 on the end. So I'm going to put 70 over here, 2,520. Look at how close I came to the number in the dividend. So let's go ahead and subtract. I'm just going to erase this. That's why a whiteboard near you is helpful. 8 minus 0 is 8. 2 minus 2 is 0. 6 minus 5 is 1. Now, I'm going to say, does it go in there twice? I can double things in my head really easy. So let's go ahead and just say 2. What's 36 doubled? Well, 36 doubled is, think of it, 36 plus 36 in your head, 72. So let's go ahead and subtract 72 from there. 8 minus 2 is 6, and 10 minus 7 is 3. Guess what? I can easily see it goes in there one more time. Now all I have to do is add up the side. 70 plus 2 plus 1. The answer is 73. And it divided evenly. All right, you're going to give some tries yourself.